Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining the next episode of the Immergence Show. I'm Nico Farah, your host today, and we have an exciting topic and continuation of what we have discussed before, which is loyalty and community. This is an interesting topic because whether you are a fan of Web3 or emerging tech, and immersive experiences or not, you probably have heard of some of these experiences that brands have created with or without components of emerging tech and Web3. And that's kind of like, even when the hype of these technologies are slowing down, we still see that brands are super excited about this element of loyalty creation of this, new technologies. And loyalty is not a new topic, obviously. It has been an important element of creating a good brand experience, and creating kind of like long-term fans of your brand. Now, the way that it has been done before, or the traditional way that has been done before, is not necessarily the best, and I will explain more about that. How it does that compared to the existing or like more futuristic version of loyalty creation, and how community is really the way to go about tackling loyalty, and what are ways that we can use emerging tech, like AI, XR, immersive experiences, and Web3 technologies and gamification to kind of level up our loyalty and create this affinity with the brand that we have. And so it's a very important topic, whether you are you have your own brand, whether it's a consumer brand or any type of brand. I think loyalty to your brand is super important. Or if you're consulting any of the brands, these are super important factors that we will be talking about. And I would like to encourage you to use the comment section to engage and share your experiences and insights. I will make sure to go through them. And in regards to every elements that I will discuss, I would love to hear if you guys have specific examples that you have come across. I will be sharing mine, but I would love to hear yours as well. And if you would like to also take a deeper dive into talking about your experiences or insights, we can also potentially bring you on as a guest another episode. So feel free to engage, and that's how we can all benefit from insights and experiences of each other. So talking about this traditional way versus current. So the traditional way of doing these loyalty programs has been always around some sort of like transaction. So if you think about it, when you go to a store, a mall, and right at the checkout, you are asked whether you are part of their loyalty program, or whether you want to sign up to it by giving your email or phone number. And that's a very typical way of getting into that. And then in return, you are getting a discount on your purchase, and they're going to send out emails to you later. Not everybody loves that when it gets too much, but there is that way of getting the engagement. And so the idea behind that traditional way is that, okay, we are getting a direct access to the customer, and we were going to get like first degree data from them on what they're like, and we can give more of that to them with personalization, because now they're not necessarily tied to these social media platforms and even like through malls or stores to kind of gauge your interest through another layer. They can directly engage with you if you would like to engage with them. And so that's one of the main benefits for them, and then they can basically provide more promotions and kind of try to understand you better and sell and upsell more items to you from your purchase history. And based on that loyalty program, they all of that basically becomes your history that they can then recommend more. Now, from the customer perspective, you are doing this transaction, you are looking for some discount, and you are looking for potentially some better experiences that are more personalized to you. So it is not terrible, but it is also not really engaging you emotionally. So, it's interesting. There was a study done in 2022 by Salesforce that they found that 71% of consumers switched brands at least once in the past year. And most of the reason was because of better deals, product quality, and customer service of the other brand was better. And so in that sense, when you are not emotionally engaged or committed to a brand, as soon as something new comes in, or other brand is offering you a better deal, you're going to be going with them. And so in that sense, that emotional engagement, that emotional commitment is very important to achieve from the brand perspective. And the other thing is, like, from a human sociology perspective, we all have certain interests, purposes, values, and what we are very much looking for is to connect with other people with like-minded that are like-minded, that have shared interests and purpose. And so that's one of the reasons that a lot of people associate themselves with certain brands, because brands know this psychology element and they want to tap into what your aspirations are. So for example, with Apple, they're going with the idea of saying that everybody can be a creator and bring their ideas to life. With Nike, we have the everybody can be an athlete. So they're kind of tapping into your emotional needs and aspirations, and then building their brand around that. And so in that sense, you are going to go with their messaging to accomplish your goals and dreams to whatever extent that you can. And so if you are connected to other people with similar goals or interests, you're probably more motivated to work towards your dream. And that's why, again, Nike, for example, creates this Nike Run Club, and you get to hang out with other people that are also into running and like to be an athlete. And so in that sense, with these communities of interest, they're motivating people to be more engaged, to do more of that action that will benefit them as consumers and also the brands. Because the more you work out and get connected with this type of activities, the more likely you would consume Nike products. And so in that sense, by cultivating this communities of interest and purpose, brands can actually tap into something bigger and better, which is that emotional engagement and this feeling of being part of a tribe, being part of a community. And their conversations and engagements are not going to be limited to that product. It can go beyond that. It can go around those interests and purposes that they have. So you could be part of this, Nike Run community, and then talk about other aspects of running and how it's benefiting you physically and mentally. And, so that is kind of like giving people more avenues to connect. And, more and more people are now feeling lonely these days. And so having this type of communities of interest and purpose is a way for them to kind of fill in those gaps and find a tribe and community to hang out with. And so from the brand perspective, they're establishing this deeper emotional level. And now we're thinking about what are the elements of creating community. So let's say you understand that community is important. What are the elements that you need to think about, and how is that going to benefit consumers and you as the brand? um, First element is about membership. When you bring people as a member of a community, they become part of something bigger than themselves. And then they will be more likely to engage and provide value, and hopefully long term, and be actively participating. So yesterday I got a message from a community that I applied to be part of, which is Blueprint. I don't know if you've heard of it, but Brian Johnson is an entrepreneur who, now has devoted himself into longevity and taking care of his physical health. And I have been personally very passionate about this concept of, taking care of my health. And again, as an entrepreneur, this is a challenging topic to find balance. And so even separate from getting inspired by him, I have been doing that. But now that I have been selected to be part of his plan and community, I'm much more motivated to share my experiences with others, to follow up on these habits and routines, and be more committed. And so I'm also going to be more engaged when adding value to their community. So I have joined their Discord community. I am, seeing how people are contributing, sharing their experiences in different channels. They talk about anything health and even business and other elements. And so when you find a community that you can, ask questions and get more engaged, then sometimes I have the answers to some of their questions. And in that sense, I'm more likely to be engaged. And, from the brand perspective, this is all happening very much organically in some ways. They're more of a curator at this point. To this specific example, for example, like they have obviously moderators, but a lot of times you see that people from the communities stand up and become the supporters and kind of moderators sometimes. And you have these very active, engaged participants that are willing to do a lot of things, paid or unpaid, for your brand. And then this is also something that motivates people to want to keep engaging with the next iterations of your product or company, because now last week we talked about co-creation. You can be now an ambassador, a co-creator of what's coming next. So I hope that me being part of this Blueprint program, I can have a saying into what will come out in terms of the longevity ideas and plans that they're offering to the world. And so this again, giving people extra layer of purpose, and something that was aligned with their interests, and you're giving them more purpose and more motivation, is very exciting, and people want to be part of it. And the other elements of community is having the voice. A lot of companies have also tried and didn't do it well. They start a Discord server, and they put up some topics for people to talk about, and then they have some moderators. But when it gets to real action, and they don't really want to respond to what people are asking, they don't necessarily democratize the decision making in many ways. And so it's very important that not only you create this space for people to come together with their shared interest and purpose, but also to give them some level of governance or authority, that they can make a difference, they can make impact. And so this element of transparency comes in, and empowerment. And so I have been part of communities in Web3 and in others, that you don't necessarily know how the decisions are made, even though it's called that is decentralized and all of that. Or even from the centralized brands perspective, it's very important that brands become more flexible and share to the level that they can, to the level that is possible, and make people, at least within that close-knit community, that feel that they're part of this and they're important, and this is this exclusivity, and they're valuable to the brand is felt by the members. And that's very important factor of having a strong community for your brand. The other part is about creating emotional experiences. So whether it's through like physical events or immersive experiences, you want to give them this different, again, hopefully exclusive experiences, so people have something to talk about with others, and that word of mouth effect that you want to get, and just feeling great about their engagement, involvement into this. So, for example, again, with the example that I mentioned, I'm supposed to follow this regimen of longevity, and I will find out more, and I can share more in the next sessions. But something is expected from me. And when something is expected from me, and I'm also supposed to pay for this membership and all of those things, in return, I would expect that I'm getting an experience that is memorable, that is better than what I could get somewhere else. And with that, I'm motivated to go tell others about that experience. And it could be the other way. If my experience is not great, I could be telling others that don't join this community. It has happened to me that I've been part of communities, and I learned that they're not treating people properly, and they're not meeting all these requirements, or at least most of it. And I recommended people not to spend their time and energy into it. And so it's very important. So we think about all of these elements. So making people being part of something greater than themselves, and giving them the voice, and some level of governance, and then creating these emotional experiences for them, and basically meeting people's needs. So the needs can be very different. Sometimes it's these cool experiences, like a lot of Web3 communities have done with having events that are memorable. I mean, even beyond Web3, a lot of brands have these experiential marketing activities where you're invited to a gathering or pop-up, and you're given a memorable experience that then you can talk about and remember. And sometimes these needs of the customers is more than just a memorable experience. Sometimes they want privacy, security, or other elements. So again, you have to really be tuned into what your community wants, and provide them with what they want. So if your audience is looking for privacy and security, maybe Web3 and blockchain-based communities are a good idea for you. In that sense, they can have control over their identities to some extent. And then if your customers or your audience are looking for different type of kind of activities or experiences, you would provide them more of that. So it's very important to be tuned into that. And when you are creating your community, you have that direct access to ask them questions, and do the traditional customer discovery and surveys and everything that we're supposed to do in a much more seamless way. And people, when they are emotionally engaged and it's tied to their interests and purpose, they're much more likely to be honest and be responsive, which are one of the biggest challenges of I know running the brand is like when you don't necessarily get the surveys responded correctly, and that's like without the feedback nothing is going to work. So I have been approached so many times to take a survey and get a discount or get some money back or stuff like that, but in most cases people are not committed to spend the time and energy to really give you the good answer. But if you have had a history with a brand through their community and you have been part of something bigger and you have been engaged and you feel like you're part of this and you're responsible for the future of it, and then you are much more likely to give the all-in feedback and even go above and beyond and give them ideas that they may not have thought about. And we talked about co-creation, so this is one of the ways that is super powerful to tap into your community. Now, to kind of summarize how these are benefiting a brand in different measures, like the loyalty in general, and now with these elements of community. First of all, it's very hard to replicate a community around your brand. So from the competitive kind of perspective, you are now a lot more safe when you are having a strong community around you, and not every competitor can replicate that easily. And then the other element that is very important when you are creating a community that is loyal to you is that it just creates your brand image a lot better. The stories that they're going to share, hopefully if you've done it right, they're much more likely to evangelize about your brand. They are going to do the word of mouth marketing and really reduce your cost into like promoting your brand. I was just hiking this weekend with a friend, and he is very interesting. Like everything we were saying about different groceries or products that health related, he would keep bringing like Costco as his favorite brand. And that just shows me like when a brand like Costco has created a seamless experience for him, that has created an advocate that is willing to just keep bringing that without necessarily getting a referral fee at the moment or anything like that. So creating this type of deep relationship with your customers and with your community, they're going to act like your marketers and ambassadors without you even paying them. The other element is like we talked about the surveys and feedback. Your products and services are going to be so much better when you are implementing these communities, because you can ask what they want next. You can ask what should you relaunch for next, and all of these are going to even save you a lot of potential loss, because a lot of times we create products and they don't necessarily sell. And when we are tapped into our community, we know exactly what they want. That is going to help you better create your product and experiences. And then, overall measures of business is going to be improved, whether it's retention rate, customer lifetime value, customer satisfaction. All of these elements are going to be improved when you are tapping to your community. And there is this concept of halo effect. So when, let's say, again, this friend of mine is also a big fan of Apple. And, we were taking a picture and he mentioned like, oh, why don't you have the Apple Watch? And I don't like wearing a watch. It's just not comfortable. But, because he was a big fan of, like, I'm a big fan of iPhone, but not necessarily so much into other product. But a lot of people, after committing to one good product and being part of the community of a brand and associating themselves with that brand, they start buying more of that company's products. And that's the halo effect that we're talking about. So instead of you pushing to upsell to them, they're actually more likely to buy more of your products when they are emotionally committed to your brand. And even especially when we're talking about like small businesses, that is a lot more important and impactful, because obviously they don't have as much budget for advertising, but also the idea of a small business is usually about the story of the business owner. And so around 70% of small businesses are actually surviving and thriving because of their communities they created. So this is extra important if you're a small business. And the other thing is like overall, this is gonna enhance the relationship in every direction. So from the brand perspective, your brand image is going to be better, your cost of customer acquisition and all the metrics are going to be better, and you're just going to have great supporters that are going to help you create better products and experiences. And the other thing is that this traditional way of doing the loyalty would require people to also like download an app and use that app. And more and more of these are becoming a friction nowadays. People also are kind of reluctant to trust brands as much as before, because there's so much saturation of brands. And so with these frictions, now we have to rethink how we implement loyalties. And so the other thing is like when we are thinking about like younger generation. Again, we had a session talking about just how they are so much more into understanding your social responsibility, your values, your goals. And so if you want to tune into this younger generation that are over 40% of e-commerce customers, you want to understand and share your values within the community. So these again are more reasons for you to consider having a community, and also using this type of new technologies for your community. And the consideration that are very important from your perspective as a brand is that you have to make sure that you are being open and flexible. You can't just create a community and just do whatever you want and just tell them some updates. It's very important to potentially tap into your time, money, and social capital. So when we talk about customer loyalty, the loyalty should be both ways. From the customer perspective, from the community member perspective, I would expect the brand to be willing to share and give value to me. And that could be through their time, money, or social capital. An example of that is, Gucci partnered with some artists and we talked about that, created an NFT project, and that was very successful, and they did another one. And so that's one example. The other is like Revolve partnered with AI Fashion Week, and then they empowered some great AI fashion designers. And so with these, we see that the PR, the marketing, the potential revenue of those products sold are distributed among those creators. And so in these cases, we see that they are giving back to their community. The brands are not just taking and generating more and more hype and revenue and feeling trendy for themselves, but also they're willing to distribute some of that with their active participants. And the higher the activity and engagement, the higher the rewards. And so with that is a really good example of showing us how we should be actually leading our communities and feeling that they're not just our consumers anymore, they're co-owners, they're co-creators and tastemakers of our business and brand. And so this is very important. And then the other way you can look at like what you can do with your community is that think of them as a scaled focus group. So, for many, for a long time, brands would bring in focus groups to create, generate ideas, create their next product or branding. And now you have this much more accessible and scalable way of tapping into your community and understanding what they need or want. And so in that sense, again, it's important to like be tuned into that. And an example of that is like when Tiffany decided to kind of partnered with NFT projects. And Alexander Arnold, Tiffany's EVP, he went and tweeted about this potential project that they would create pendants for CryptoPunks community, and asking whether they would be interested in that or not. And then he saw a great engagement and response, and he basically tapped into tastemakers with disposable income. They're not necessarily the typical consumers of Tiffany, but they were interested in that. And so with that, asking the community, they opened up the project. It was pretty successful. It was sold out pretty quickly. And so these are ways that brands can actually tap into existing communities or similar communities that they want to partner with. And in that sense, the other example that I can think of is Macy's. Macy's did an immersive experience for their parade, and it was a virtual immersive experience. And then they wanted to kind of take that and kind of tap into the NFT communities and kind of bring a next level of experience that is merging these immersive experiences and Web3 experiences into their existing annual parade. And so what they did is that they basically asked their audience through a voting platform uh, to see which one of the NFT projects should come and present in the real life parade. And the Cool Cats kind of put together the most excitement and got the most vote. And then we recently saw them at the parade. So that's a great example of tapping into other communities to merge them with your community. And so those are kind of like potentially starting points when you want to go to a new space and tap into a little bit of a different audience and bring them into your kind of target audience. And so from the customer perspective, what they're getting is this amazing experience that they can talk about, that they can remember, and this amazing tribe that they're now part of, and they can potentially accomplish their dreams. We are in the creator economy. We are seeing more and more people wanting to take ownership over their talent, their creations, and everything around it. And so with these type of opportunities that brands can create, these people that are all potentially creators can empower and support other kind of interests that are in front of them. They may have a different day job, but they're passionate about art, and they can create ideas for these brands and collaborate with them. And one day this can become their full-time career. And this has happened a lot in Web3, and that's why Web3 was so exciting, or is so exciting to a lot of people, because it opens up a whole world of opportunities that people can be empowered. And with these decentralized autonomous organizations, if done right, people can actually satisfy a lot of their needs, whether it's financially, whether it's emotionally, by being part of something bigger and contributing towards that. Now, my personal experience of running and leading a DAO and also being part of other ones, I would say we're not fully there yet. different levels. One is like people are not fully there yet. We're very much used to these hierarchical structures where you are waiting for someone to tell you what to do or what direction to go, and people are not necessarily at the level of full leadership and accountability. Not everybody is ready for that, and that's fine. We're in a transition, and we may never get to that full decentralization. And then from the brand or the community leader's perspective, a lot of times, unfortunately, this decentralization became kind of similar to, for them, was kind of equivalent to, kind of disorganization and lack of accountability. So they were like, okay, if you are part of this community now, you can lead it. They would tell that to the community, and they would sit back, and there would be no structure, no value system, no culture, nothing. I believe that we do need to, as if you're starting a community, you have some responsibility to set the values, goals, and to some extent, and then yes, community can take it to the next level. But if you don't put the infrastructure in place, to me, it's like when you have a newborn baby and you tell them to run by themselves or grow up by themselves. It's just not going to work. You have to provide some level of support in the beginning, at least, and until they're kind of ready to walk and run. And so we're not fully there yet, but it's a good path to take and start and work towards that. So a lot of things need to be developed. We need a lot better infrastructure system to be able to manage these communities. And we need to establish the culture, the mindset that needs to be shifted. And it's shifting slowly, but we're not fully there yet. Now, other examples of, so in the meantime, when we are not fully decentralized ready, a lot of brands are just, kind of taking small steps. So an example of that is Starbucks. They had this loyalty program that they started with NFTs, and they created great experiences for their communities that are now a lot accessible to every customer. And it has been pretty successful. I personally didn't use it. I'm not a big coffee fan. And, if I have to, I would maybe take a cup of coffee, but it's not something that I would want to be addicted to. But I know that friends who have used Starbucks NFT program, they have been super happy with it. So again, that's an example of a brand that has done the traditional loyalty, now converted it to this community-based loyalty, and people are super satisfied with it. And it's very interesting how some of the challenges of loyalty programs, traditional loyalty programs, are resolved with this, like we talked about. And basically, if you think about different factors, whether the traditional KPIs of you measuring whether your loyalty program is doing well or not. So for example, the customer lifetime value. The customer lifetime value is now higher if you have a good community, because they're more likely to stick around as a customer in a longer run, because they're emotionally engaged, and sometimes they devoted time and money into your brand. So in that sense, you are going to see enhancement on that. And if you think about the cost per acquisition, like we said, there's going to be a lot of word of mouth. And what's interesting is that a lot of brands are also using that initial loyalty program, or like NFT, if it's NFT based, or whatever that membership fee is. That is a way of monetization that excites people to be part of something exclusive. Not everybody is not free, so everybody can get in. And then at the same time, you're making money on it, and you can potentially like have them refer other friends, and just make more money on just them getting into your community. So that's an interesting one, and we have seen really interesting example of that in Web3. Like, a great example of that is World of Women NFT project, and how they created a really good inventory of funding, that they basically budgeted a lot of great work both on the social, supporting different talents and creators to making positive impact in different levels of the society. And so they're also hosting great events, and all of that. So with that, you have a lot of possibilities of what to do with that treasury that is created with the purchase of NFTs or other ways of doing memberships. In terms of conversion rates, you are going to again ask your audience and ask your community, and they're going to be more likely to buy what they said they want. And in terms of average order volume, they, with that halo effect, they're more likely to buy more products. And so with all of that, plus now you can have new KPIs, you can have social engagement rates. Traditionally we have been very much limited to advertising on social media and Google. And so now you have a different type of engagement in immersive experiences or with your loyalty program and in IRL or URL events. And with that, you have this extra layer of engagement that you have actually control over. And then you're going to see their attendance, you're going to see your brand sentiment going higher. And with all of these are the things that you wouldn't get from the traditional loyalty system. And you can also ask them freely about what other brands they're using, what they want to see in the future, partnerships, like what we heard Tiffany did with CryptoPunks. So it's basically a win-win. And from the consumer perspective, this being heard and having the two-way communication is not something they're necessarily used to. We have had Facebook groups to some extent, but a lot of those Facebook groups have turned to, again, broadcasting channels. Hey, I have an event, join. Or hey, this is what's going on, new product, new event. And a lot of times brands don't take the time to read the comments, to read the DMs or respond back or act on them. So the traditional ways we've been doing it, it hasn't been really working. One thing that I actually like about the existing platforms before Web3, which now they've transitioned to be a bit to Web3, is Reddit. I think Reddit was such a good example of community that was organic. And with these subreddits, whether it's around a city like San Francisco has a great subreddit, whether it's talking about any issue or any product, usually there is this community of people that are giving it a try. They're interested, passionate. I followed Dr. Huberman for all those longevity topics, and I see a very great following and discussions happening on Reddit about it. And these are very good potentials for brands to tap into. But as far as I know, they're not necessarily handled by the brands. They're more organically created and voluntarily moderated. And so, just brands trying to kind of learn from those, or at least tune into those subreddits and, act on the feedback that are being told there. These are all great ways, and obviously reviews, if they're done right. Those are the traditional ways that we could do them better, but Reddit has incorporated Web3, and they even did the avatars and stuff. I think that's a great example of a community that is now transitioning and becoming more adapted to the new technologies. And so now, if we talk about technologies more specifically, how we can tap into these technologies. The first thing we want to talk about is Web3. So we talked about how it is challenging for people to keep downloading new apps. If you have an existing app like Macy's and you want to add a loyalty program or have a loyalty program on it, maybe that's an okay option. But if you want to create a new loyalty program that is community based and active and all of that, and you don't want to do a new app, there's this potential of using this shared data layer for multi-company rewards. So if you are using blockchain, you can leverage the Ethereum or Polygon API standards to develop these multi-company rewards. So if you are giving an NFT, then you can have token-gated events and you can have token-gated experiences and benefits. People can get airdrops and stuff like that. And even they can unlock different discounts and opportunities through that. So you don't have to necessarily create a new app and infrastructure for that. And then the other benefit of Web3 technologies for enhancing your community experience is this secondary market rewards. So an example of that is like when the Gary V and V. I forgot what they're called, but basically they have a VCon and they have an NFT project. And so with that, they have all of these NFTs that used to be pretty high priced. And when the recon comes in, they have these tickets that are for the members. And then they basically airdropped a different, I think they airdropped a different type of NFT for the ticket of the conference and convention. And then if you are not attending the convention, you're open or free to go and sell your NFT ticket to the convention and keep what you had, the original NFT. And basically through that they can monetize off of their original membership. And so that's interesting because this type of transactions of loyalty benefits hasn't been done as much before, or I haven't heard of, but now it's a lot more seamless because you may not be able to attend an event or benefit from a discount, but with this opportunity people can give it to others and benefit from it with other ways. Another benefit of this Web3 technology is that you can make your audience be your invested advocates by giving them those kind of tokenized aspect of the business. So if you can tokenize the community and they have a token from it, they can vote, and with that they can be part of the future governance and different, depending on how you structure everything, they can be part of that. And so again, this is an opportunity that you can use the NFTs with and benefit from this possibilities. And the other technology that we can talk about and use is immersive experiences. In a Macy's example that we talked about, and many others like Nike and Gucci and a lot of brands we have talked about in other episodes, they're using immersive experiences to provide these convenient and multi-sensory memorable experiences. Again, experiential marketing has been done before, doing pop-ups, doing gatherings, and the challenge with those were that they were not as accessible, they were not as scalable to offer to all of your audience. And even though you want to keep some experiences exclusive, but to what level of exclusivity and to what level of cost? Now, when you are creating these immersive virtual experiences, you have a lot less cost in creating them, and you can reuse them, repurpose them for different events. and different gatherings, different activations. And this is a lot more accessible. People don't have to travel. It's more sustainable. You don't have to have all the carbon footprint and all of that. And this is just a way for people to have a convenient and more appealing experience that, again, they can go talk about or remember and be more emotionally engaged with your brand. And you can stand out through them. And they would be a lot more engaged and interactive as well with immersive experiences. You're not just an observer, you can be part of that narrative and story. And so again, it's going to be increasing the conversion rate and stuff like that, because now they can be part of this. And we talked about virtual try-ons in a couple sessions ago. And so with these immersive experiences, you are creating more ways for people to have a more confident experience as well. And, talking about XR and spatial computing and immersive experiences, it's not just for your consumers. A big part of this community is also your employees. You don't want to forget about them. They are getting paid for what they do for you, but also they also need to be emotionally motivated and engaged with your brand. And that's where you can also use immersive experiences. I talked about this example before. I met head of VR at Walmart, I believe, at Augmented World Expo, and they said they have trained over 1 million of their employees with VR. And so this is a great, amazing opportunity where they are kind of simulating the experiences of providing the service or doing their job. And it's also been used a lot in airlines, and even like for employees that are not in the location that the services are offered. So for example, Target has a lot of employees in India, and a lot of them haven't been to a physical Target ever before. As far as I know, there's no Target in India. And with that VR option, they are giving that real experience to their audience, to their community members that are their employees, to actually provide a better experience, whatever product they're creating or service they're creating. Now they have a different level of understanding of it. And so this is another level of quality that you can offer to your audience now through this. So think beyond your consumers, but also think about your employees. And the other very exciting technology that you can use, obviously, is AI. All this personalization and everything that makes people be committed to your community and be loyal to you can be scaled with AI. So think of like when you go to a barbershop or hair salon where the hairstylist knows you well, knows exactly what type of haircut you like, what type of considerations you have, and all of that about you. Doesn't that make you feel amazing? Doesn't that make your life so much easier when you have someone that knows you well, and you don't have to over explain yourself every time? And that's exactly what we want to scale. How many of our customer service interactions are really at that level of great experience? Not many. A lot of times we have to have this kind of robotic engagement and have to say everything about our history. It's very time consuming, it's a lot of friction, and the other person is just doing their best. It's just a limitation of existing human customer service situation. But now we can augment them with AI to quickly gather the information from your history, put it in front of the customer service, and offer the best kind of experience to you by them knowing your name, knowing what you were looking for, and answering your questions to the best possible. And we talked about AGI in another episode. When artificial general intelligence is here, you don't even necessarily need to bother human customer service to do all this work. And AI itself can sound so emotionally intelligent and supportive, not to take people's jobs, but to actually support and augment people so they can focus on other areas that they enjoy doing. And so, with that enhanced experience, you as a customer or community member, you're going to feel better. And even like think about the community moderation. How many times we love a community, or we may not like a community because of the interactions we have with the moderators of that community. Now, that is a challenge for a brand. I have seen a lot of that. And so with AI, you can enhance that experience to augment the existing moderators or provide layers of moderation, um, supported by AI, to increase the safety, to increase, the overall experience, enhance the overall experience. And just to understand also what people want next, and not, they don't have to tell you everything. A lot of times with AI, you can also just look at their habits and recommend them more of that, and just create a better experience for them. And last thing I want to say about incorporating all these technologies is gamification. Um, a lot of these community experiences are fun and memorable thanks to gamification, because people are just naturally, before even gaming companies becoming so big and so powerful, gamification, like, we are human naturally gamified, like, with dopamine and all of these neuromodulators that we have. We are incentivized to do more of things that we like, or our body likes. And with that, you're in by giving the rewards in response to certain behaviors, you're incentivizing more of that action, obviously. And so that doesn't have to be always monetary. It could be badges, it could be levels. You want to make sure you have those in your community, because a lot of times people's love language or response that they're expecting is not just monetary. They're looking for that affinity, they're looking for that tribe, they're looking for that emotional support and like-minded people, and sometimes they're looking for recognition. And all of those can be done through true gamification and personalized gamification that you can create. So a lot of these technologies that I talked about are kind of overlapping. If you want to do personalization, you should be using AI, and you probably want to use other elements like gamification and this type of immersive experiences. So kind of think about how you can tap into these different technologies to create an amazing community that just brings another level of loyalty. And thank you so much for your comments, Robert and Astrid. I appreciate you both. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this topic. I personally love this topic because, as I said, if anything from these new technologies brands are going to continue using is loyalty. And it's very important, whether you're a consultant or you're building your own brand, to really tap into this benefits of these new technologies to enhance your loyalty and hopefully building a strong community. And if any of you has any insights or experiences, again, please feel free to put it in the comments. And I would love to, have you guys to also join the conversations in other episodes. Happy New Year to all of you as well. And yeah, hopefully we can all, create a strong communities. I mean, you guys are my community. I appreciate that. And I hope I'm giving the right value to you guys. And I hope that this can be both ways, and we can grow together. That's how I look at it. I would love to hear what you guys want to see next. I would love to hear how I can provide better value, what type of guests you want me to bring in. And this is something that I'm very passionate about, to share my knowledge and insights and experiences that I come across. And I hope to learn from you as well. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your time. And I will be back next week. One last thing I want to talk to you guys about while we have a minute. There's a great event coming up next week, which is called Femigrant Annual Forum, Reset, Rebuild, Reshape. I will be going there, and it is a great event if you're in the Bay Area, and it's going to be on January 26th. If you are in the Bay Area and you're going to be available on January 26th in the evening, definitely DM me, and I will be sending you a discount code for this event. They're great speakers, head of SAP.io, head of product at YouTube, and CEO of Smart Venture Capital, and really, really amazing speakers. And it is a community that is supporting female immigrants and other amazing leaders and entrepreneurs. So I'm happy to support them. And if any of you is interested to join, definitely DM me, and I will be happy to send you a discount. But thank you so much again. Thank you, Yemi. I appreciate you, my amazing friends and communities. I love you all, and see you next week. Take care. Bye.